Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for choosing Big Fox News. I'm Nick Smith. Today, the Board of Governors for Pennsylvania's state system of higher education met to vote on integrating Mansfield University with 5 other schools. Big Fox News' Matt Kleindist attended this morning's meeting and has details in tonight's top story.
Good evening, Nick. The Board of Governors voted overwhelmingly for the integration process. It will now be up for public comment, and the faculty union is making their voice heard.
Yes.
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 After a 2-hour meeting, Pennsylvania's Higher Education Board of Governors voted in favor of the integration plan by a tally of 17-2. If implemented, Mansfield, along with 5 other schools, will combine academic programs and faculty, effectively merging 6 schools into 2.
We know we need to change significantly, in order that we may continue to serve our historic mission.
Chancellor Dan Greenstein laid out the case for the plan in order to cut costs to preserve the PASHE system, but some have questions about the plan.
It's hard for me to believe that there could be so little detail in a document that's 439 pages in length.
APSCUF, the state system's faculty union, joined a few hours later for an online rally to outline concerns about the plan. Some concerns include forcing students to take more online classes, accreditation from the NCAA for school sports teams, and the overall cost to consolidate schools.
Startup costs for the consolidation will be around $30 million and the savings around $19 million. I'm not sure how this makes financial sense, and I really don't know how that's going to have a positive impact on the negative financial situation that we've heard about for at least 2 years.
Jamie Martin says the potential staffing cuts could cause major damage to local communities. While she says the union is willing to work towards solutions, Martin adds more consideration is needed before pressing forward with integration.
We should not be cavalier about merging 6 universities, each of them over 150 years old, into 2. We should not be racing down a track to do something without knowing if it is the right thing to do.
The plan will be up for public comment before a final implementation vote is cast in July. Matt Kleindist, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing that all curfews for restaurants and bars will be lifted by next month. The announcement comes a day after the state assembly repealed an executive order requiring food to be ordered with alcohol. Outdoor curfews will be lifted on May 17th, while indoor curfews will end on May 31st. Governor Cuomo first instituted the curfews back in November. For people who can't leave their homes, getting vaccinated has been a challenge, but some cities are working to change that by bringing the vaccine to them. Katie Byrne has that story from Allentown, Pennsylvania.
My husband was very active before COVID. We went to the gym.
Rose Lee Goldberg says her husband Gordon got COVID-19 in December and he's been bedridden ever since.
I started calling around because I thought there's got to be some way that people come to bedbound people's homes and give them the vaccine.
Gordon just got his 2nd dose of the Moderna vaccine at home, thanks to paramedics.
He has a long way to go, but he is recovering, and all the people who have helped him along the way. I can't tell you how grateful I am.
It makes me feel good because it's getting them what they need and it gets us closer to normal again.
Since March, Allentown EMS has been vaccinating people who can't leave their homes.
I think we're somewhere close to 100 people that we've been able to vaccinate so far.
It's happening in Trenton, New Jersey, too.
We have received so many calls for individuals, and I can tell you, these are truly homebound residents that really need this services.
Dr. Amos Lopez has been giving out the shots there.
We have quite a few that are blind, quite a few are bedridden. Many are confined to like a wheelchair and they need a cane to walk.
Rosemarie Molinaro is visually impaired.
This has been a really hard time for me. I've had to be alone on so many levels.
She's now fully vaccinated and says she's left her Christmas decorations up for this moment when she can reunite with friends.
It's Christmas until we're all together again. Like, I've been looking forward to this.
All right, have a good day, Rose.
Bye-bye, thanks for the shot.
Most programs like this have a phone number or an email set up for people who want to schedule an at-home shot. You typically just have to live within city limits to be eligible. In Allentown, Pennsylvania, Katie Byrne, Fox News.
As more people get vaccinated, more things will return to normal. And that's not limited to restaurants, concerts, and sporting events. It also means a return to the office. And as Jeff McAdam reports, that may require some give and take between employers and employees.
Nearly 1 million people have been vaccinated in San Diego County, and with businesses reopening left and right, it seems office buildings are next.
The office is me and a few other lawyers that I share the space with.
Joe McMullen says he's already back, though some of his coworkers have remained virtual.
I work from home, technically going to school, and I know I'm not as efficient.
Jake Scalisi has been doing law school virtually all year, but says classes are slated for in-person this fall, and he's excited for it, but a little nervous too.
I think it's kind of just a bad situation. I know I've lost a lot of my social skills. You can see it right here. But yeah, I mean, I think we just kind of got to stumble back into it.
I think that people need to ease their way back into it. Like, we can't expect everything to be just like it was when we left. Things are going to be different, and we need to go slow and give ourselves the opportunity to transition.
Dr. Deanna Crosby is a mental health expert with New Method Wellness out of Southern California. She says socially and mentally, it's important to try and go back to work as long as it can be done safely at your own speed. But a recent survey from FlexJobs found that 58% of employees say they would look for a new job if they weren't allowed to work remotely. Meanwhile, staffing firm LaSalle Network surveyed 350 CEOs nationwide and found 70% plan to have employees back in the office by the fall, if not sooner. Associate Professor of Management at UC San Diego, Liz Lyons, weighs in.
What I've heard in speaking to a number of CEOs is as they're trying to work out the return to work plan, they are getting pushed back, like you're suggesting, with employees saying, well, this flexibility is really convenient. So the CEOs I've been talking to have been suggesting this hybrid, maybe 1 day a week remote, or maybe 3 days in the office, 2 days remote.
So when you come back to work, it's so important to walk the fine line with your boss of remaining professional, but also letting them know that you're feeling anxious.
And that associate professor from UC San Diego says, there are some people who got hired during the pandemic. They thought their job was just going to be virtual. And now they're finding out, well, you got to go back to an office building. So there's going to have to be some compromise, especially in situations like that.
A North Carolina judge has ruled against allowing the public release of body camera video in the fatal shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. Brown was killed last week as deputies tried to serve a search warrant. A number of media outlets had petitioned the court for release of the videos involved in the shooting. In court proceedings this morning, the attorney for the petitioners argued that the Brown family wanted the videos released, while the district attorney claimed they would hinder the outcome of a trial. However, Judge Foster said members of the Brown family can view multiple body camera videos and one dash cam video within 10 days after any identifiable information is blurred or removed. The family of a man shot and killed by Chicago police say that the video they've seen doesn't explain what happened. And the mother of the victim says she doesn't understand why the confrontation happened in the first place. Liz Nagy has the story.
Anthony Alvarez's family watched the last minutes of the 22-year-old's life play out on video this afternoon.
It is an absolutely chilling scene.
But they still don't understand why the young father was shot and killed by Chicago police last month.
Quiero saber cuántos balazos.
In his mother's words, translated through a cousin, she says,
I want more answers. The videos I saw don't explain what I saw in the morgue.
Police say just after midnight, March 31st, officers were chasing Alvarez through a Portage Park alley. According to police, they say Alvarez took out a gun, which turned into some kind of confrontation.
We just applied a chest deal. My partner's doing chest compressions right now.
Alvarez later died at the hospital. Police posted a picture on social media of the weapon they say they found at the scene.
The rules of engagement are very clear. This officer followed him.
I want to know why they were running after him. Till this day, I have no answers. I still want answers as to why they were chasing my son.
Now, while the public waits to see video of another deadly police shooting, his grieving family says they want to know why this even happened at all.
I know it's going to be hard for our family and friends and everybody, but we're not going to stop until we get justice.
Federal investigators have executed a search warrant at Rudy Giuliani's apartment in New York City. An attorney for Rudy Giuliani has confirmed to Fox News that agents raided the Giuliani residence in Manhattan. The former New York City mayor has been under investigation over his business dealings in Ukraine. Search warrant details were not immediately available. Still ahead tonight, incentives to get fully vaccinated. That's what new guidelines from the CDC are intended to be, so what's behind the change?
This is incentive to try and tell people, like, okay, now that we know these vaccines can save your life, here's what you get to do with that life.
More on how officials are hoping that loosening some of the guidelines will help encourage those who are vaccine hesitant.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. We continue our warming trend for today, even though it's pretty cloudy outside for most of us. 10 degrees warmer in Elmira, 7 in Corning, 12 in Watkins Glen, and also in Bath. This is all due to south winds coming in out ahead of our storm system, which will be arriving by tomorrow. That center of the low will be right over the Twin Tiers, and we are expecting we're going to be on the warm side of it initially on Thursday, but then by Friday that's going to switch, and we're going to be on the backside of this low pressure system, and so things will start to cool down. Here's a look at your hourly planner for your Thursday. Temperatures will be around 61 degrees at 8 o'clock, by 10, 62, and we do warm up to around 65 degrees despite the fact that we are going to see some rain and possibly a few thunderstorms throughout the day. So here's what the situation is on Friday. That low will start to drift to the northeast. We are going to see moisture wrap around this low, and that will head right over our area. So the rain chances will continue for your Friday, but that low will also pull in north winds, and that's a colder wind, and so temperatures will be a good 10 degrees cooler on Friday, and we're going to continue with that cooling trend for at least the first half of the weekend. Our feature radar is showing a few isolated showers for tonight into early tomorrow, and then the rain really becomes widespread. In fact, there could be some heavy rain from noon to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon that will be passing through our hometowns. Even at 7 o'clock in the evening, there still could be a few areas that could pick up some heavy rain, but after Thursday, I think the rain will start to taper off. 1 o'clock in the morning, still a few showers developing and moving through the hometowns, but I want to point out that our precipitation, notice it's turning blue, an indication that there could be some snow mixing in by Friday as those temperatures start to dive down behind that low pressure system. So as that colder air gets in, if there is some moisture left over, that could fall in the form of snow by Friday afternoon into the evening hours. And then on Saturday, we are expecting high pressure to build in, and it's going to keep the cool air in place, but we are going to see a little bit more sunshine for the first half of the weekend. Here's a look at your forecast. Temperatures tonight drop down into the upper 50s. Highs tomorrow will be around 66 degrees in Elmira and also in Corning. And then we are expecting cooler conditions on Friday with more chances of rain. It will be a windy day as well. A little bit more sunshine on Saturday. And then we have another round of rain coming in by early next week.
Incentives to get fully vaccinated. That's what new guidelines from the CDC are intended to be. So what's behind the change? Mandy Gaither has more in today's Health Minute.
With a rise in vaccinations and a fall in COVID-19 case rates, the CDC released new guidance Tuesday on what fully vaccinated Americans can now safely do.
There's increasing data that suggests that most of transmission is happening indoors rather than outdoors. Less than 10% of documented transmission in many studies have occurred outdoors.
Top U.S. health officials say there's increasing information suggesting the spread of COVID-19 is happening mostly indoors. That's one of the reasons the fully vaccinated can now unmask when walking or exercising outside, alone or with household members, when dining outdoors, and at small outdoor gatherings with vaccinated and unvaccinated people.
However, we continue to recommend masking in crowded outdoor settings and venues, such as packed stadiums and concerts, where there is decreased ability to maintain physical distance and where many unvaccinated people may also be present.
Meanwhile, fewer new people are getting their first COVID-19 shot than those finishing up their second, according to CDC data. Officials hope loosening some of the guidelines will help encourage those who are vaccine hesitant.
This is incentive to try and tell people, like, okay, now that we know these vaccines can save your life, here's what you get to do with that life.
And as more shots go into arms, Americans can expect even more updated guidance. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Girl Scouts in Georgia are on a quest to sell cookies. Lots of them. Because of the pandemic, they have nearly 3 million unsold cookies just sitting in an Atlanta area warehouse. Bern Peterson has more.
Hundreds of thousands of boxes. Now, any other year, except for last year too, of course, Girl Scouts would set up a table in front of a local grocery store and customers just couldn't resist. But they couldn't do it this year.
Inside a huge warehouse along Founders Parkway in Alpharetta, Naja Robinson can't believe how high the cases are stacked.
It's a lot of cookies. I did not know there were this many cookies left over.
Girl Scout cookies. The pandemic is spoiling the annual cookie drive.
Girl Scout cookies in a normal year would not be sitting in this warehouse.
CEO Amy Dosig says for just the Atlanta area troops, more than 720,000 boxes remain unsold.
What we didn't anticipate is how many fewer girls would set up cookie booths and go door to door to sell online.
Hope you enjoy them.
Pre-COVID, the local troops would sell 4 million boxes, but it's only been 2.5 million so far, and that's with extending the drive till the end of April. The expiration date for the cookies isn't until September, and they'll keep much longer if you freeze them. But a warehouse gets pretty warm inside in the summertime, so they've got to move these cookies now. Naja Robinson's already sold 500 boxes herself, but she'll keep pushing.
I think people want cookies, they just don't know where to find them, and I think that these cookies can get sold.
So you can buy them online. Go to showmethecookies.com, and they're also asking for Atlanta's corporate community to help out and buy them by the case.
A Pennsylvania couple was desperate for help when their baby stopped breathing. They were able to flag down an officer who jumped into action and saved the baby's life. Michelle Newell has the story.
I just thought I have to help this baby.
There are times you can't help but wonder how you manage to be at the right place at the right time. That was the case for Pleasant Hills officer Kristen Matrician last Saturday.
I just know that God put me there that day.
The cop was in the other lane about 2 cars up.
Before Joe Schleicher noticed Officer Matrician, he was on his way to Children's Hospital because his 9-day-old baby was fussy. On the way there, his wife noticed something was terribly wrong with baby Olivia.
She said, she's not breathing, I have to get her out of the car seat. And we were sitting in a red light at that point.
I heard beeping next to me. I looked over, I saw a male driver waving to me. I put down the window.
I said, my baby's not breathing.
Officer Matrician told them to pull into this lot along Sawmill Run Boulevard.
I took the baby out of the car and basically just put the life in the cop's hands.
Put the baby on the tailgate of the truck, started doing chest compressions.
A bystander jumped in to help.
I asked him, sir, can you please get the AED out of my car? It's in the back seat. He said, yes, I'm a corrections officer, I'll help you.
The machine analyzed baby Olivia.
Obviously very scary to have your child on the back of a truck, you know, with AEDs on her, and she started turning blue.
Remove all clothing from patient's chest.
Minutes later,
it was the best crying I ever heard.
Olivia is at Children's Hospital now. She has a heart condition and will need surgery.
She saved my baby's life, so I'm very thankful. Words can't even explain, you know, how I feel and how thankful I am.
Officer Matrician is always helping others, but on this day, it really hit home.
I'm a mother of 2 children, so I would hope someone could help me.
If the officer would be willing to meet the baby and meet up with us afterwards after she comes out of the hospital and stuff, that's something we'd definitely be interested in.
Reporting from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Michelle Newell.
Gas stations might be running out of gas this summer, but not because of a looming shortage of crude oil or gasoline. It's actually because of a truck driver shortage. According to the National Tank Truck Carriers, up to 25% of tank trucks in the fleet are parked heading into this summer. The trade group says it's because of a lack of qualified drivers. At this point, in 2019, only 10% of truckers were sitting idle for that reason. Many drivers left the business a year ago when gasoline demand came to a near halt because of the pandemic-related shutdowns. Also, many driver schools closed early in the pandemic. A bird smuggling scheme was foiled as it was hatched after airport authorities captured a traveler with dozens of live birds tucked into his clothing. Jeremy Roth has the bizarre story in today's Take a Look at This.
Authorities at a New York airport arrested a man caught trying to smuggle nearly 3 dozen live birds in his clothes. If this story isn't tweet-worthy, I don't know what is. Officials say customs agents at JFK pulled the man from Guyana aside for an examination. That's when they say they found 35 live finches stuffed inside hair rollers sealed with netting and hidden under his clothing. The man said he'd been paid to smuggle the birds into the U.S., and according to authorities, he was charged with unlawfully importing the finches. It's not immediately clear if anyone else has been linked to the bird-brained scheme. A bar in Missouri recently invited locals to come have some shots. COVID-19 vaccine shots, that is. The Beer Station Taproom in Waldo turned its patio into a free clinic to administer over 1,000 doses left over from a recent Western Kansas pharmacy event. The taproom's owner says he hopes the ideal will encourage others to get involved.
If we could do anything and use that to better our society, then I think it's great for everybody, and I think it doesn't hurt more businesses to do that.
Finally, a recent internet outage in a Canada community is being blamed on busy little beavers. Roughly 900 customers lost service in the tiny town of Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, after officials with TELUS Communications say fiber cables were chewed in half by beavers building a dam. You can see cable marking tape, normally underground, on top of the dam. Service was restored within 36 hours, and officials apologized, calling the fiasco very bizarre and uniquely Canadian. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. Grab your favorite mask and cape. Wednesday is National Superhero Day. Batman, Captain America, Wonder Woman, and the Hulk are among the more popular characters, and although these superheroes are fictional, many of them serve as role models for children as they serve and protect the public while battling against evil. Of course, there are some non-fictional superheroes in the world, including police officers, firefighters, teachers, and medical professionals. You can honor the day by taking their favorite superhero to a meal and thank them for all of their efforts. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. Good night.